everybody. This is Mike Payne, your podcast host, your sweet, sweet podcast host, I should say. Today we're going to be talking about skylights. And, you know, there's a couple skylight guys in town, but when I think about skylight guys or guy, I think about Riley Brown. Would the real skylight guy please stand up? Riley, how's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I've been looking to get on here since you guys started doing this stuff, so it's awesome to be able to work this out. That's good.
Awesome. So you're kind of like a No Pain Podcast OG.
Absolutely. Obviously. Yeah, obviously. Got to follow you guys for sure.
Hey, well, it's been pretty good working with you. How long have we been working together now anyway?
Yeah, well, before you were fully certified, we've been working together for over 5 years, but I think we're going on about 3 years fully certified, which is awesome. You're one of the first few to get all trained up in Calgary, which is awesome to be ahead of the rest of everyone on that.
Yeah, I was really fighting for that certification. There's like multiple levels of going through it, and it was like, man, it wasn't easy. Definitely wasn't easy.
Well, you know what, and you know, you've been in the industry long enough that you know skylights. We as a skylight manufacturer want to make sure that the people that are installing them are installing them correctly, and that they know how to install them properly. So we don't give out our certifications easily. It's pretty tough to get, as you know, but that makes it so the right people are getting the leads and the right people are doing the work in town.
Well, I totally agree with the way you guys do things, and it's a really good learning experience for all my guys. You know, whenever I see now, like after I've taken the course with Velux, I always see people doing it wrong now. I'm like, man, no, it's not the way you do it. And it's actually changed a lot of my methods, even with shingling in general, just like with how you like overlap the underlayment onto the shingle course below. Like that is just like, it just makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I see a lot of people not doing that with HVACs, you know, the HVAC ports, like it just makes sense. Like you don't want it running all the way down the underlayment, you know?
Exactly. Once it gets chopped behind, it's stuck in there, right?
Yeah.
So you want that nice seal against bare wood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, so I know you. I know you're aware of your competitors, and I'm aware of your competitors. For me, I'm sold on Velux. I always tell everyone go Velux. But what is your opinion on why you stand out from the competitors?
Yeah. So you know, Velux, we've been around since 1941. We actually just celebrated our 80th year anniversary in April this year. Something we're really proud of. We're originally from Denmark, from Copenhagen, but we're now all over the world. We're in 40 countries. We have about 16,000 employees worldwide. So we are the largest skylight manufacturer in the world. And one of the really cool things is that if you take all other skylight manufacturers in the world and combine them, we're still bigger. Really? So to be able to have that global presence and you know, the research and development, one of the interesting things with Velux is we actually have more engineers on staff than we do have salespeople. So the end consumer, the installer, everyone's always top of mind to make sure that we're offering the best quality product. And as you know, there's a ton of different manufacturers that are manufacturing what we know as our, you know, the standard re-roof type of skylight, which we would call the curb mounted style.
Right.
You know, and there's a few things that we really like about what we offer with ours, and a lot of the things make it easier for you as an installer. For instance, we have, so here's our corner sample right here. As you know, you don't have to use caulking, you don't have to use tar, you don't have to use foam tapes and stuff like that to do the install. It's got this rubber gasket, really quick and really easy to install. And easy to service. You know, if there's some interior work that needs to be done down the road, or anything like that, you have to come back and take the skylight off. You don't have to worry about that being caulked down. So really easy to take off because it is a dry install. So quicker for you, and again, in the long run, just better for your clients to have that ease of install on that skylight.
Well, I like that the dry install, because I mean, I know some of those skylights you take off and it's got that acoustic sealer and it makes a huge mess. Like it gets all over the drywall. It's disgusting.
Yeah. And so like you said, when you take it off, imagine putting it on, right? Because that stuff, it spreads everywhere. You get it on your hands, it just spreads. It's just a mess, right? So
it kind of flies away like spider webs too. Like it's like a little parachute. Yeah. No, like I said, I'm a huge fan. That's actually one of the main reasons why I started using Velux skylights, the curb mounted in particular, and then I just started learning a lot more over time with meeting you. And if I don't, I just go with Velux. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you can see from here too, we've done some other really cool things like There's no exposed fasteners that hold the frame together. I know you've seen in your time other manufacturers that have the corners all screwed, and you see the exposed screws. And over time, with in Calgary, we get these crazy temperature changes when it can go from -20 to +10 in a day or in the matter of hours. What happens when those screws are expanding and contracting, right? You can have some start to back out, which you could cause a penetration point. And I'm sure you've seen in your time, little beads of caulking over all these little screw heads, and it looks terrible.
It looks horrible.
It's a huge eyesore. So to be able to have that all locked away, so it works on a key system where it locks in together, and then it's capped over here. So really, really easy, and the look of it is a lot nicer.
Very slick.
Because we see a lot more of these really steep roofs. And it could be, street facing, and homeowners are getting a little more conscious of what their homes look like on the outside, right?
Right.
It used to be before where you do a roof and no one ever looks up. They understand, the roof's done, I don't need to look at it. But now with these steep roofs, people are always looking, right? It becomes part of the aesthetics of the home. So we want to make sure when we're putting a skylight on, it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb.
Gotcha. Yeah. How often do you think you should replace those things?
Yeah, so our glass skylights that we offer in our residential line, they come with a 20-year warranty. Previous to about 2010, our products were coming with a 10-year warranty, and this is on the seal. If you're seeing one of the plastic bubbles or domes or whatever you like to call it, those ones typically aren't going to last very long, and they're not really designed for residential applications. The reason being is that between those panes of plastic is nothing. There's just air in there. Where with our glass units, we actually inject argon gas in between the panes. So in the middle of winter, when your home is really hot, you're paying for all that heat, and outside is -30. It's not traveling through the glass.
Right.
But with the plastic ones, it travels right through. There's nothing keeping it in.
Right. Yeah. And I would say that these ones are much better for like just Calgary's climate in general, given all the hail,
Yeah. And most of our glass options, we also offer a 10-year hail warranty, which is, as you know, really, really important. And just we're still dealing with the last year's that huge insurance issue, and I'm sure you have a ton of homeowners and ton of clients that you're dealing with, and still sorting through that. And just to have something that the homeowner can say, I have a manufacturer warranty on this, that I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to wait for insurance forever, that I can rely on Velux for this. This is, something that they're really happy with.
Excellent.
Another really cool thing that we do that is totally different than anyone else in the glazing industry, whether it be vertical windows or skylight slope glazing, is how we attach the glass itself, or what we call the sealed glass unit, to the frame. How we attach it, or how the standard in the industry is to use a butyl tape. And if I know you're familiar with butyl, some of your listeners may be, but it's basically a tar, and it gets broken down by UV rays and moisture. Well, think of what's on a roof.
That's all there is.
UV rays and moisture.
Yeah,
it makes total sense for a vertical window, but for something on the roof that gets a ton of beading on it and faces the elements a lot more than a vertical window would, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And this is why these companies can't offer a long-term seal warranty on their products. So what we did about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, we switched to an aquarium grade silicone sealant. Well, think of aquariums. Well, they have water on them at all times, and they got those little UV lights to simulate the sun.
Right.
So how strong that the seal glass unit is held onto the frame is just incredible. And if we could, I'd actually like to show you how strong that seal is. I have a skylight here, and I can show you how strong it is if you like.
Yeah, let's see that. This
awesome.
Be interesting.
All right. Okay. Little tip when we resume, boys, keep yourselves a little closer to those microphones. I'm having a hard time picking you guys up.
I can't hear much through my
yeah, it's because you're facing this way. Your mouth is right over
my
here.
earphones.
You gotta pull that in front of your mouth best you can.
You just pause it, or?
No, we're live, man. We're live. There's no pausing a live stream. It's gonna get that. Mike, you want to move your chair just a little bit, please?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. Well, we're definitely ready for the for the strength test.
Awesome.
Let her rip.
The volume's good on the mic.
Well, you talk a little loud, and all these mics are live. We'll hear you.
Awesome. Perfect.
Let's bring this mic in actually a little more.
You can do
Sure.
that, yeah.
Awesome.
It's our first live demonstration, so we'll see how it goes. I guess it will.
No problem. All right. So, like I was saying before, the way that we attach the seal glass unit to the frame is that aquarium grade silicone seal. So I'll show you. This is just our 2 foot by 4 foot fixed curb mount skylight. I'll put it down here. So, for reference, I'm 330 pounds, ex-football player. I'm comfortable standing on this skylight, and I'm comfortable jumping on it.
Nice.
Want to get on?
That's fucking awesome. Yeah,
Get on there.
Let's see what you can do, Mike.
I don't know. I'm scared. It scares me. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Well, there's
That's
no
awesome.
bathroom below that skylight. So you'll be okay.
Yeah, we've driven trucks over these. We've driven Jeeps and stuff over them. So we're really showing how strong that seal is. And for those viewers that think maybe this is plastic or something like that, this is our glass skylight. So this is tempered glass. The glass is strong, but the seal is what we're really showing off how strong that seal is.
Right. Yeah, that's a really safe skylight. I mean, I think a lot of people might be worried about like it caving in, or falling through,
Yeah. Well, and that's with that butyl. If I were to jump on it, the whole glass piece would fall. It wouldn't be strong enough to hold to that frame.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, cool, man. Well, thanks for showing that to us.
No
That's really
problem.
nice.
Happy to show that off.
We'll have a little more confidence when installing them.
Yes.
If I were to slip and fall or something like that, I think it handle my featherweight.
How's it through there? It's fine. Okay. There we go. Oh, let's get this guy.
All right, back at her.
Awesome. There we go.
Should try to get that going more often than we do. Get people to test their products when they bring them.
Right?
That wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
I was kind of thinking about like shooting a hail shingle.
Oh, yeah.
Like 22 and just see like at what range would it stop.
That'd be get some clicks. That video would.
Yeah, we might try
Does
it one
this
day.
hail-rated shingle stand up against a 22 caliber?
Yeah. Hey.
Watch the video and find out.
We with our hail warranty glass, we have a display that we use from time to time where we throw metal ball bearings at the glass to see how strong it holds up, and it's awesome. It's just and for you guys on the shingle side, I know quality product is huge for you. So to have something that you're comfortable selling and you can stand behind and do the testing yourself and say, look at what we've done, it just goes so much farther with your clients, right?
So like what you're trying to say is that Elon Musk should have used your guys' glass when he threw that ball bearing at the truck.
I didn't see that video, but our glass manufacturer is great. We've been working with them for a long time, and
this was crazy. This video that came out. So Elon was testing his truck, like the truck. He's showing the
new
truck,
Tesla truck.
the new Tesla. Yeah, and he takes a ball bearing and just whips the ball right out the window, and it shattered on him. But I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it was pretty bad. It was like. Yeah, so
it's
it's
a little embarrassing in front of everyone.
Yeah, so I was like, well, that's what I was kind of thinking. Maybe they should
have done a tester.
Yeah, should use Velux glass. I don't know, maybe.
Could have, yeah, could have.
So what happens when you throw the ball bearing at it? Like what?
You know what? We used to do it at the home show, and nothing. We show how strong it is, but I actually took the display out of it because we really established ourselves in this market as the go-to for skylights, and people were going with the hail warranty glass as the standard. The reason I took it out is that the noise is just brutal. It's so loud to hear that metal hitting the glass. Right. And someone's standing in the booth and someone's trying to, because we usually will have our marketing team come out. We'll have a few people at our booth at the Home and Garden Show. If you're having a conversation with someone, we're this far away, and then 2 feet away, you got someone whipping balls at a glass skylight. It interrupts the conversation, and people get a little weirded out. So it's a little much, but like I said, I think we've done enough to establish the name and that, hey, you know, these are hail proof, or, you know, and if they're not hail proof, we're going to replace it under warranty within those 10 years.
Well, it sounds like they're going to stand up to hail and all types of hail. So that the hail that happened in the Northeast last year, how do you think the Skylight would have stood up to that?
Here's the interesting thing with our hail warranty skylights. We offer the hail warranty on our triple pane, or if we have a laminated inner pane. So we do the laminate on the inner pane because it's the last line of defense.
Okay.
We did have, I think there was 1 or 2 that didn't have the lamination that did break. Because there was a ton of skies that broke.
Right.
But the nice thing, and we actually haven't done a hail warranty claim yet. Because they didn't go with the higher end ones.
Right.
But the nice thing is, if with that laminated pane on the inside, like I said, it's the last line of defense. If that top pane breaks, the bottom pane won't. If it does break, it's just going to be like your vehicle windshield. It'll spider throughout, but it'll stay in place. And the nice thing about it being, you know, over top of a living space is that it's going to keep the elements out. So it's going to keep the hail out, but it's going to keep water, leaves, and all that stuff out as well.
Gotcha.
We're just base tempered glass. Or domes, which is what we saw a lot of domes being broken.
Those things shatter like over anything. Like, I'm scared sitting underneath those things in a hailstorm.
It can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even just the base tempered glass for a vertical window, you got a vertical window that breaks, you got a little pile of glass on the ground, no problem. But something over top, a bedroom or a kitchen or any living space, it could be really dangerous having all that glass come in.
Right.
So, like I said, we've done a lot to educate. Not only installers but homeowners as well, and they're getting into the sort of the standard, and as I know you are, is we're not even going to look at the entry level. You know, we have an entry level glass because as a manufacturer we need to compete on with a low cost alternative.
Right.
But like I said, you and many others have sort of set the standard for your offering as being the next level up, which comes with that warranty.
Totally. No, yeah, that's the way to go. It just makes sense, and like I said, especially in our climate, like maybe Vancouver Island, you might get away with a lower grade one, but I like going with a little bit better. I mean, like the Skylights are very affordable.
Yeah.
Like they're not like crazy expensive, unless they're like a big custom fit,
Yeah, and that's it's a common misconception that people have, that Skylights themselves are just extremely expensive, and that's not the case. And this is one of the issues, and I know you and I have talked about it, and I know you even have part of your warranty that goes around it, but we all, a lot of the times we'll have people that will pay thousands to get their roof done, but they won't pay the extra few $100 to get their skylight replaced.
That's crazy.
And it's we see this so often, and it just makes no sense, because you think of a roof, and what are you doing while you're roofing? Well, you're redoing the vents, you're redoing the metals, you're doing a lot of other things. Why leave the skylight the way it is? And a lot of times we see the flashing left, we see the skylight, we see it just covered in tar, and that's how they leave it. And you a lot of your listeners may not know, but firsthand, you take off a piece of flashing that has a hole in it from a nail, you can't put it back because that hole's in it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah,
but we're seeing this,
and caulking isn't it's not a primary way to keep things out. It's a very secondary method, and anytime you start applying caulking, it's like it's gonna be constant maintenance. Like, do you want to keep guessing when you're gonna have to go on your roof? Yeah.
Well, we like to have this analogy. How many homeowners do you think will go and recaulk their bathtubs, their shower bathtubs? 10% maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's something that they're using all the time, and that they're seeing all the time.
Right.
For something on the roof, they don't see it until there's an issue.
That's right.
So, are they going to be knowing when that caulking is falling apart to give you a call and come back?
Totally.
No.
Yeah, no, that's a good way, and yeah, people are afraid of going on the roof to begin with too. So it's like, the more like, the less maintenance your roof is. That's a low maintenance roof is a good roof, Yeah.
Do it all right at once, and so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I make some rare exceptions, but generally I just say, if you're replacing the roof, just replace the skylights, replace the flashing, just do it. because it's not worth the hassle later on.
Absolutely. And, what we have seen as well is people remove flashing, remove the skylight, redo the roof, put it back, and then there's all of a sudden some leak or something like that. And, what's going to get blamed? Well, obviously the roof's going to, you did the roof. It's the same skylight. Well, once you start peeling things back and you don't put new things in place, obviously things are going to happen, right?
Well, for me, that's a dirty little secret that people don't know, but with a lot of roofing companies is that they'll just be like, they try to be the low ball price. So they don't talk about the skylights. And then when they do leak 5 years later or 3 years later, maybe 1 year later, like, oh yeah, we didn't replace the skylights. So you have no warranty on that. Sorry about that. So for me, I always let people know, it's like, if you don't let us do the skylight, you don't get any warranty.
Yeah.
So it's just being upfront with them, you know,
and we've seen situations where the roof's leaking on the north side and the skylight's on the south side. And, it's not the roof's fault. It's the skylight's fault. It's like, what?
No. Oh man. Yeah. I know Skylight's got a bit of a bad rap, but it's more just to do with improper installation. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, we're doing everything we can to educate and obviously you get you and your team all up to date on all the installer processes and stuff like that, and knowing what products to use. And that's why we do things like the home and garden shows. We try, because we get in front of installers all the time, but to really get in front of homeowners and educate on what is and what isn't going on properly in the industry is huge. And we have it as still part of our sort of name tagline is VELUX the no leak skylight, because there is that stigma around skylights leaking.
So true. Yeah.
And there's a few things that have led to that. Like you said, improper installation is one thing. Another thing that people don't understand, and it's something that we see every winter, is condensation issues.
Right.
We see it. You've seen it in the attics with attic rain and stuff like that, and it's very similar with skylights, right?
Oh yeah.
You think of Calgarians, with exception of a Chinook here and there. We lock our houses up in October, and we open them up again in May.
Basically,
what happens to all that hot, stale air that's in the living space? Well, obviously hot air rises, it's going to sit right at that skylight.
Right.
So as energy efficient as we can make the skylight itself, if we're still using a curb style skylight, we're relying on a piece of wood to keep cold air out.
Yeah. But I know one thing for sure. I mean, if that curb is nice and well prepped, and with this dry fit, it's like you put some pressure on there, you put the screws in there, you'll never have condensation. Yeah.
Well, that's the nice thing with the dry install, is that it's going to be a nice seal. Sometimes that foam tape, you get things if you don't pull it straight enough and it's got a little bend in it, it's going to have an air gap. Another thing that we see is counter flashing, where people will actually bring metal up and over top of the curb. And a lot of installers don't know, but if you have one piece of metal that's on the outside of the house and on the inside of the house, you're going to have that cold meeting the warm.
Totally.
And you have what is called thermal bridging.
Yeah, that's right. And that counter flashing, the vast majority of the time, is completely useless. Like, there's not even point in putting it on there. I didn't realize that. Like, when I first started in this, I got corrected at the Velux course about that, and I was like, amazing. So that course is invaluable, even whether you want to become certified or not.
Yeah, for sure. And there's one-off times where counter flashing makes sense. The flashing that we offer in our kits is made for a 6-inch curb or 5.5. And it's also you can it's scored so you can snap it off to make it work on a 4-inch.
Yeah, I like that.
But there is neighborhoods in the city, like in the Southwest, where they have shake roofs from the 80s that you get these 10-inch tall curbs, where it's like, well, the 6-inch flashing is not going to work. So that's where you need to do something. But like you said, you don't need to go up and over. If you just make it to the top, you're just fine to make sure that's all covered up.
Totally. Yeah, no, counter flashing does have its time, but I just seen it like I in the vast majority of cases I see counter flashing, it's just like, why is it here? So
yeah, we've and again, going back to what we talked about with this rubber and metal don't go together very well. So if metal's here, this rubber is not going to sit well on it. As hard as you want to push it down, it's not going to seal nicely to it.
Totally.
So and the rates of expansion and contraction are totally different.
Right.
So
that's something to consider.
It's like I said, it often hurts the situation. I went to a homeowner's house a couple of years ago that had a VELUX skylight. It was a venting one, and he had it in his bathroom. He was in Okotoks, in far west side of Okotoks, and basically you look west of his house and it's just all farmers fields, and there was literal snow being blown into his bathroom. And he said, it's snowing in my bathroom. We went up and took a look, and it's counterflashing. What happened is the counterflashing got bent, that it wasn't sitting flat on the curb, and there was air literally just coming up and over the curb underneath the counterflashing and blowing snow into his bathroom.
Yeah, that's snow is like almost like sand in a way. It just finds its way through literally a little pinhole. Yeah, it's pretty. And with the way like the tunnel and the wind circulates. Yeah, I've seen some rain do some pretty weird stuff around Skylights too. Yeah, so.
Yeah, well, and you got to think the pressure on the inside, the pressure on the outside as well. It's that's why as long as it's sealed. And that's why we're so happy with this gasket that we offer, and we're so happy with the aquarium grade seal that we offer. That once it's sealed, like there's no air transfer from outside to inside on that.
So do you think a homeowner should ever install their own skylight?
Honestly, no. We as Velux, we have certified guys that have gone through extensive training, as you know, to do their installs, and we have these guys all over the country. This is something, we work with some of the big box retail stores, but how I run my territory is that it's more for a product recognition, right? So if you're selling a client, you're talking about Velux, they say, oh, I saw Velux at Home Depot. Great. Yeah. Velux they have their product at Home Depot. They're one of the biggest, they are the biggest skylight manufacturers in the world, and they have that presence in the industry. I can supply and install a Velux skylight for you. I'm a certified installer. Let me take care of you from start to finish. Because as you know, there's just so many things that could go wrong between not only just the flashing and the shingling, but the waterproofing. If they're not waterproofing, we see a lot of skylights that don't even have any membrane, right? It's literally just wood and then metal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've seen that a fair bit. Today I came across a skylight that was sideways. What do you think about the sideways application?
Yeah, so it's something that we're seeing a little bit more in new construction because as you know, trusses are the big thing, right? So flat ceiling is the way to go. Very few builders are going with the vaulted ceiling, so trusses are the way to go. But what we're sometimes seeing with these crazy different roof peaks and angles and stuff like that is we're seeing the roof slope running perpendicular to the trusses. So when traditionally we would see a slope here and we see truss, we're seeing roof slope here, truss.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that in those situations, you don't have the room to run the skylight normally, so you have to turn it. One of the really cool things with our fixed curb mount skylights, we have a little condensation gutter built into this rubber gasket. And this gutter will drain out on all four corners. Okay. So the skylight we looked at earlier, it was a 2 foot by 4 foot. There is a little logo on it that says don't step on it, even though we're stepping on it. It says don't step on it. It's going to be slippery, which is obviously meant for when you're on a roof. But if that side is technically up, but if you install it upside down, it'll work no problem because it drains on all four corners. If you want to put it sideways, which is the situation you're just talking about, not a problem. It'll drain in all four corners. There's other ones on the market by other manufacturers. You may have seen that has a little sticker that says this side down, right? Because it'll only drain in those corners.
I see.
So we've gone and made it easier to, again, ease of install, ease to work with. This also comes into play when you're working with a square skylight. So you're working with a 4 foot by 4 foot skylight. It's completely square when it comes to the fixed curb mount. There is that don't step on it, which is the way up, but you can put it sideways, upside down, sideways. Oh, okay. No problems. It makes your life a lot easier. From the inside, it's the exact same. From the outside, like I said, the only difference is you'll see that little danger logo. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I'll just learn something new today.
Yeah.
I thought there's only one way you could put it up. Yeah.
When it comes to the fixed curb mounts, you can do it that way. The venting ones, so we do venting skylights. We do it with a manual of the crank. We also do what is becoming very, very popular is our solar powered ones. Right. Those ones are wireless to control. With a press of a button. We just also came out with an app that you can actually control it right from your phone or from your tablet through Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world, which is really cool. That's called our VELUX Active system. But anyway, so the solar is really, really popular there. And then we do an electric one as well, which isn't as common, especially on the renovation side, because you got to hardwire it in.
I don't like the hardwire. Yeah, that one. But we actually did just put. I think we did actually just put one of those ones with the app and everything. And actually, they're install friendly, I will say.
Absolutely, yeah. The only difference from installing a fixed unit to a solar powered one is there's 2 screws. You back out, you take the solar panel out of the box, you hook it on, screw it back in. There's one plug underneath. take the screen out, and then there's an on-off button.
Oh.
Put the batteries in the remote, and that's it. So
totally compatible.
Really, really easy to work with. To go with the app system, it probably takes about 15 minutes to set up because you got to go through your phone and get all the clearances and allow this app to do this and get into your Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But we've obviously done that to make sure there's no security threats, because we all know how the cyber world is these days with that type of stuff. But
sounds like you guys are thinking of everything.
Yeah. With those, what I was going to say on the venting ones, obviously there is an up and down side, because where the chain comes up, it's meant to be at the bottom, so you can't really turn the venting one sideways. But we do, obviously, our 2x4 is our most common. In the curb mount, we actually have a 4x2. So if you needed to go with a solar unit sideways, we actually have that pre-done up and made, and we offer that one. So the deck mount ones are a little bit different. The deck mounts we see more on the new construction side, just due to code requirements. Those ones do have a top and bottom, just because they work to shed water versus divert water. So a little bit different. Those ones sit a little bit closer to the roof deck, and they install more like a window would. But again, those we mostly see on the new construction side.
Right. What about that? So what about the code requirement there?
Yeah. So I know it's not the most entertaining stuff, but in 2016, Alberta came out with code 9.36. And they basically set a maximum, what we call a U value. So I know many of your listeners are probably familiar with R value.
Right.
What R value is we're basically measuring heat retention. So if we're talking about a piece of insulation or drywall, we're measuring how much heat is kept in by that particular material. With windows, doors, and skylights, we use what is called a U value, and we're talking about thermal transfer. So we're measuring how much heat is transferred through that material. So where R value, you want it as high as the better, right? Higher the better. U value, you want lower the better.
Okay.
So they set a maximum U value of 2.7 for basically most of the zones in Alberta, with exception of up in Fort McMurray. They have more strict building requirements. But basically what had happened is, and nowhere in that code said anything about a curb mount or a deck mount or anything like that. But where we came into an issue was NFRC, which is the North American Fenestration Rating Council. They run everything for all glazing in North America, and how they require a curb-mounted skylight to be tested is to put it on a 4-inch curb. And we talked about this before, being that a piece of wood is not a good insulator. It's not very energy efficient. So a curb mount skylight on a 4-inch curb didn't come in very energy efficient. Because of that, basically every single curb mount that we offer, with exception of our fixed curb mount in the triple, which is this one here, does not meet code.
Oh, okay.
Where the deck mounts, because they actually mount directly to the roof deck, they sit only about 3 inches off of the roof deck versus 6 to 7, depending on what the height is of the curb. And they also have an interior wood frame that you can actually tie your vapor barrier right into. So it's built into the building envelope. So those ones, they perform much better, and all across the board they meet code.
So I'm going to rewind you a little bit here so you get the understanding here. So you're saying to me that if I see a house that's built after 2016 and it has a curb mount skylight on there, that's not code?
So yes and no. There was a period where a bunch of builders took out a year's worth of permits. So it really didn't kick in until late 2017. Okay. And then the other thing is, certain builders, it depends on the inspector, right? You got to think not every inspector is making sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed. So you may run into some where it's still curb mounts. And then there was a period up till, I think it ended in late 2019. But there was a time where you could basically do what is it's loosely referred to in the industry as rob Peter to pay Paul. So you could either do, let me make sure every component of this build meets code, or let me make sure that everything else but the skylight meets code, and then I can make the skylight not meet code. But as long as I meet this magic number at the end, maybe I'll do extra energy efficient insulation, or do extra on this to make up for the lack of energy efficient on the skylight. So
I see.
That's over now. But yeah, you should see basically anything in around the 2018 on. If it is a curb mount, it's going to be triple pane, or somehow they had a workaround. The builder had a workaround.
So it's got to be triple pane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the triple pane comes in at a 2.16 U value. So again, 2.7 is the max, 2.16 is what it comes in at. Where with the deck mounts, our fixed units with our entry-level glass and our hail warranty glass coming in at a 2.50. And then we also have an extra energy efficient glass in the deck mount, which is a double pane, but it comes in at a 2.15. So the double pane that we can offer in the deck mount is actually more energy efficient than the triple in a curb mount.
Okay. So I mean, like 99% of our skylights are, pre-existing.
Yeah.
Now, if a homeowner comes to me today and says, "Hey, I want a skylight put into my house," do I have to do deck mount?
Nope. So you just need to, as long as you're not pulling a permit, there's going to be no inspector. So I don't know the specifics on it. There is a dollar amount. I want to say it's somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000 in terms of an interior renovation. But yeah, doing a re-roof with a new cut-in and some interior work, you won't have to pull a permit for that. So
Okay.
you won't have to do that. No.
Beauty. Okay. Well, that's very educational. Well, thank you, Riley. So I think we should maybe roll through some of these pictures that you provided for us.
Sure. Yeah. Again, we one of the things that we talked about earlier is roofs being replaced without skylights being done at the same time, and this is a huge thing. And we can roll through some of those photos.
Yeah, let's do it. What was this one? I think. There we go. New roof, old skylight. Here we go. Okay, so that's how does that look on the screen there? We need to brighten it up a little bit.
No, she's fine. Adequate.
Adequate. Okay.
So yeah, you can see tar all the way around here. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen when that we already touched on. But at the end of the day, the homeowner is really losing out here.
That's insane.
Because they're going to be paying more money in the long run to get this done afterwards than they would have in the first place, which is unfortunate, right?
Well, what I think is upsetting about it is that what it is like they're not getting advised properly, and like I would say at least 90% of these cases, the roofer just says just be quiet about it. Yeah. But I mean, hey, if you want to opt in for this, it looks like crap. Like I mean, like you try to sell your house with that on your roof, like good luck.
Well, and warranty comes into play too. Like you said, you're not offering the warranty in terms of the workmanship.
Yeah.
But if your warranty on your roof in terms of the shingles is totally different than the warranty on the product of the skylight, everything's going to be all off. Mm-hmm. If you're going to replace everything at once, start them on day one, right? Your warranties are going to align perfectly.
Right. And then,
if anything goes wrong, exactly what time within your warranty cycle you're at, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, this one here kind of looks like it's been leaking, and the homeowner's been up there trying to seal that up, because that doesn't look like a professional was trying to seal this up.
You'd be surprised.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right, dude.
Unfortunately,
trying to stand up for my roofer brothers, okay? All right, what do we got here? Okay.
So here's one that we've seen that we see somewhat often. This is an old Velux skylight, and we stopped making this style of skylight in 2009.
Okay.
So you can see the roof is relatively new. The flashing you can definitely see was ripped and then put back on with all those marks on it. You got all these nail heads, all these holes in it. It's messy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a situation where, yes, the skylight itself looks like it's in pretty good shape because it's a Velux. We stand behind our products. I've actually seen products that were older than I have that are still on roofs that are just been taken off in the last couple of years, which is crazy. A 40-year-old skylights, which is awesome.
Nice.
But again, it looks fine. But again, is it going to last for another 10 years? Is it going to last for another 15 years? Probably not. That's
the thing. That's why I tell them. I say it's not if, it's when.
Yeah,
it leaks. Yeah.
And a lot of the times we'll get roofers that say, "Oh, I want I'll just reflash it. Can you get me the new flashing kit?" Well, as a manufacturer, if we stopped making these in 2009, it's 2021.
Yeah.
How often, how long do you expect us to keep these flashing kits available for? Right.
This one looks like a deck mount, hey?
It is a deck mount.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see how the back pan sort of comes up and over.
Right.
This was actually a weird model that we offered only for a few years because it didn't catch on as much as we wanted it to. It's called our FSF. And what it was is basically a fixed deck mount with a little vent flap at the top. So that's so you can see why it's sort of covered at the top.
I see that.
So if you pulled open the vent flap, you get a little bit of ventilation.
Cool.
But the problem was a lot of people would forget to close it. And once it started raining and all this water rushing in.
That was actually one thing I wanted to bring up with you too. Yeah, I really like the rain sensor. I think if you go with a venting skylight, you have to have a rain sensor on there because the one time you forget to close it, it really basically pays for the
well, and some of the times we'll have homeowners that are they're good to go with the venting, but they're not sure if they want to spend the extra money to go with the solar versus the manual venting. And what I talk to them a lot of the times is you have enough things to think about when you're leaving the house. Did I lock the door? Did I turn the oven off? Did I do this? Why have to think about did I close my skylight?
Totally.
Why even have to think about it? Just get the solar and then you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is, because it's Calgary, we get rain, could be random times. Last thing you want to do is just start rushing home, leaving work. I got to go close my skylight. It seems like a weird thing to have to say, right?
It's like leaving your windows down in the parking lot, like basically same thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So here's another one, not the same one, but a similar situation where we have an old Velux deck mount with a newer roof. Again, this would be, I think it's going to be the same model, the FSF. So pre-2009, and instead of replacing the flashing, they use the same one. You can see the step flashing is all bent. You can see the bottom pan is all scratched up, and the back pan is just cocked like crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not right. I don't know. What brought you to this place? Like, why did you end up at this place to take?
These are actually, so a lot of installers will send me photos, or even they'll just ask for a quote. And I know the dimensions so well of our deck mounts. And one of the really cool things is, we've since day one, we've never made custom sized deck mounts. So if someone sends me a measurement of a skylight and it aligns very closely with a deck mount, people in Alberta automatically think every skylight's a curb mount,
right?
No matter what. So, and if they give me dimensions, I'll say, hey, can you just send me a picture of it? Because I can identify a Velux right away. And if we know it's a Velux, then we know exactly the replacement because we've never made custom sizes. We've never changed the size.
Gotcha.
Another really cool thing is we put serial numbers on all of our skylights. And I can actually track serial numbers back to 1970.
Oh, wow.
So I can actually, if you run into a Velux skylight, send me a serial number. I can literally tell you what month of what year it was manufactured.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No. I know we've talked a few times about this, and it's been pretty helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, like that one down in Mackenzie Lake when we were checking out the serial numbers on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, a couple times. One we just did recently. Yeah, made it easy. Oh, whoops. All right, there's that dome one.
Yeah, so here we got a cracked dome. We got tons of caulking, and like you said, it gets smeared everywhere. So you can see at the top there, it's just all over the place. Very messy. It's just not, something you wouldn't expect. That you got a brand new roof, you've paid thousands of dollars. Is this really what you want?
No,
as a component on your roof?
Well, it's so much more expensive to do it later. That's what I try to tell people. Yeah, like with inflation and everything, like it just, even if it leaks 5 years later, it's like not worth it because you got to rip the whole thing up. But yeah, it looks like they didn't. Looks like they shingled over the front pan there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right. Yeah, no, these are garbage. Anytime I see them, I'm like, dude, get rid of it. And oh yeah, so there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so here's some dome skylights, the old galvanized flashing. I know you see that from time to time, but you can just see let's caulk everywhere around it. The skylight's caulked. The where the bubble or the dome meets the frame is all caulked over. There's rot everywhere.
This looks like a desperate attempt.
Right?
Like it's like somebody has like been desperate and they are so upset that they have to keep going up there and over again. I can see it's all flashed wrong, and yeah, that's it's pretty sad. And the sad thing is they're probably still leaking. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, a lot of these photos have been redone with Velux product done properly. But yeah, it's sad because we see this stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right. This one's condensating by the looks of her.
Yeah, so there was a I don't know the exact manufacturer, but there's a bunch of these in and around Calgary. You may have seen them before, but they actually are a plastic frame skylight.
Oh,
which makes no sense at all.
I've never seen one of these.
You can see the frame is all cracked up because plastic on the outside is like, this old stuff is not designed to be with, again, we talked about expansion and contraction. It doesn't make sense, right? So the frame itself is cracked. Like you said, there's water getting in, condensation getting in between the panes of the plastic. The flashing is all a mess. It's
that's bad. This looks like a time of year that it's not even really like condensation isn't even really a big deal. It's like there's leaves on the trees out there, like
exactly.
Still condensating crazy. Yeah, I've never seen a plastic skylight like that before. That's no wonder, Yeah, I feel like these things suck.
But as a roofer, and this one's a bad one. As a roofer, we ask the question is, how do you walk away from this and say this is okay?
Right. Yeah, no, even if it's an old roof, it kind of makes sense. But if it's like a new roof, like what the hell is going on here? And, my story will always be the same. I try to tell them to do it.
This is probably one of the worst that I've seen is.
Oh, yeah.
Caulking everywhere. You can see the tape on the dome. It's broken.
Yeah.
And this was actually done. This was out of Edmonton. This is done by a Skylight specialist. He was brought in after the roofer by the homeowner specifically because they just left it like this.
Oh yeah, wow. Well, I'm sure they're a happy person now, and
Absolutely.
I'm sure they're going to be choosing a little more wisely on who they get to roof their house next time, if there is a next time.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, Mike? It's coming to this point now, and one of the great things with you being a certified installer is we're able to send you leads, and it's come to the point where a homeowner sets priority to find a Skylight installer over to find a roofer.
Right. Makes sense.
So because they care more about getting the Skylight done properly than they care about the roof getting done properly. So a lot of the times we'll get homeowners reaching out to us, say, I need my Skylight done, but I also need my roof done.
Right.
So we can get you in touch with those people and then you can do it all. That's the great thing for you is that you do it all. Where obviously a lot of these guys don't want to touch the Skylight.
Right. Yeah. Scared of it or something? I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, they should just go through your program and learn how to do it. It would just make sense. Like when I see this, it's like, how many times have they done this? It's like, oh yeah, I've been roofing for 20 years. It's like, oh boy, really? You've been doing this for 20 years? Like,
that's what doesn't make any sense to me either. It's not a fairly complicated process. I mean, you give your due diligence, and to see something like this as a final product.
I don't know. I would kind of, like it's not like, it's not rocket science, but there's definitely a method, and it takes, and learning it yourself is basically impossible. Like I think that getting to the manufacturer and saying, hey, look at how do you actually install this thing is going to, you'll never, before, that's basically what I found out. So, I've been roofing for 10 years, and I went through the program over 5 years ago. And what I found out that for about 4 years, I've been doing these damn things wrong. So, that's like the sooner you go through the program,
of course,
the better.
This is likely a product of somebody who didn't have,
well, this is ugly. This is
necessary
ugly
training. And
well, you guys know firsthand that there's a lot of roofing companies that guys, oh yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years and I'm not going to change. And I've been right. And, you guys are the ones leading the charge and saying, okay, you keep doing it wrong and I'll do it right. And I'll get all the clients and I'll get all the referrals and I'll make sure that all my clients are happy with me.
Oh,
you can keep going back for service calls.
For sure. Well, we fix their stuff. That's what ends up happening. But we're always keeping up. We're trying to keep up at 2.0, 3.0. Like even with our manufacturers, the manufacturer, they've been like CertainTeed. They've been making shingles for forever, and we just got their master shingler applicator, 15th edition.
Nice.
But we first started with their 13th edition. So it's like they're like. Just because you know it all, even if you've gone through the program, doesn't mean that things aren't going to change. Doesn't mean the manufacturer's not going to see improvements that we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's interesting stuff. Okay, let's move along a little more.
So this is similar to the other situations that we talked about. This is an old it's a Velux roof window. So I don't know if you've dealt with one of those before, Mike, but these ones are our original product from Europe. This is very common in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
They actually, they're a tilt and turn window. So you can see they cocked over it on the left side, but on the right side, there's a little groove in there with screws on top and bottom of it. At that point, the roof window will actually tilt there, right in the center.
Okay.
You can get fresh air as well as the natural light there. So this one is, you know, old unit that should have been redone. You can see it wasn't. They used a different flashing that's not a Velux flashing.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
The bottom pan is black and not gray. And then you can see they used the old back pan, but they roughed it up so much when they took it off that it's all bent and messy.
Yeah, these are these flashings should not be reused.
No.
Yeah, they're kind of a one-time go.
Exactly. And we make them for that purpose. Some people will say, "Oh, your flashing's too thin." Well, we make it that way so we don't want them to be used again.
Right.
We want them when you're taking that step flashing off that it rips.
Tears. Yeah. No, I've seen it. Yeah.
We don't want you to be putting that back on because there's a puncture in it. Because, you know, how do you cover that back up? Caulk it over, and that looks terrible. It goes against everything we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. That's a good way to do it. By design, I like it. Oh, that's pretty rough. What the hell?
Right. So this one, I think it's just a piece of glass with some cladding around it. You can see the dog-eared flashing at the back,
which is a nice touch, to be fair.
And then you can see the side wall, like you got nails not even nailed down all the way. Like, I don't even know what to say about this.
Right. The
roof looks relatively new, and how, like I said, how as an installer, how as a roofer do you walk away from this and say, yeah, okay, we've done our job?
Yeah, no, that's pretty hurting for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think those dog ears are probably the only thing that's reason why it's not like a complete shower in their house. I mean, I'm sure that thing's leaking, but that's at least they had the an idea of what a diverter is. But yeah, that's hurting. It looks like it was like bashed in a tin shop by like a blacksmith that on his first year.
Yeah, let's make a skylight.
Yeah. Not bad for a first go, I guess. Whoa. Here's some tall guys.
We talked about those tall curbs before. You know, this is a situation where, you know, could have dropped those down. Like we said, same as last one, they got the dog ears, so we're diverting water, but it's just, how do you leave that there? You know, all the screw heads on the skylight are either cocked over, or it's just a mess. It's
not
an overall
optimal.
Mess.
Not optimal at all. Yeah, and so so you're saying that the higher the curb is like that, the worse the R value?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, right. That makes,
because all that air is going to transfer right through that curb, right?
Right.
You know, there is a manufacturer out of Alberta that'll say that they'll only sell you a skylight if you insulate the curb. But the interesting thing is they'll sell you a dome.
Oh yeah, that's trash.
So if a dome's not going to keep the warm air in, who cares if you insulate the curb?
Totally.
You're literally just creating a tunnel of warm air to go through the top. It's like,
right.
We'll seal off the sides, but then open the top up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think when they did those skylights there, they probably should have, if they're going to make that curb that big, they should have maybe just at least like doubled up the curb and then brought it out more or something. It might have helped the R value a bit more.
Well, you know, it could have been a shake roof that was built, like 3/4 inch shake that was built up a little higher.
True.
But
yeah,
you know, who knows at this point? Either way, these ones were actually taken down and done properly. You know, and a little bit of, some guys will get scared by, you know, you look in the inside and you go, oh, there's tongue and groove. I don't want to mess around with the interior. But you know, you got a 10-inch curb. It's just, you take off a layer of the tongue and groove. It's not too complicated.
Right. Yeah. You can't really see up there anyway, aesthetically. Yeah. Okay. Hey, that's good points.
Here's another one. This is actually an interesting one. This was one of the Northeast ones that got damaged by hail. This is what we would call a self-flashed skylight.
Self-flashed. Okay.
So some people in the industry would actually refer to it as a deck mount, but it's not. It's what we call a self-flash skylight. It's seen very common on modular homes.
Right.
Basically what it is, it's a curb mount skylight with almost like a curb built in, and then like a really wide nailing flange built in. So it mounts directly down to the roof deck, and then you cover it in tar, and then you shingle over.
Oh yeah. That seems like something they would use in I think California or something like that for like hurricane zones. I think that's what they use those for.
Yeah, it's in high wind areas. They're pretty common. We looked at, because we make one of those, but we only really tried it in Newfoundland because the wind's out there. But
right.
Modular home manufacturers use them because it's less parts. Right, they're not worried about a piece of step flashing flying off if they can just caulk everything down. But they get messy, right? And
right.
Obviously here, it's an older skylight. You can't. There's no flashing or anything that you can see. Everything is just covered over. But we got a broken dome, and it's like I said, it's a new roof. Should have been done. Should have been at the same time.
Yeah. It doesn't look like the maintenance is really easy on that.
No, because you got to rip everything off.
Yeah,
just like you would a deck mount.
Right.
You got to come right down to the roof deck.
This doesn't look too bad.
I think this one we're starting our. This one's actually a new skylight, so we may have gotten into our new our other options, but this may be in the wrong file.
Okay.
But either way, the flashing on this could have been done a little bit better instead of like galvanized. So maybe that's why I had it in this file. But this is a new VELUX skylight.
I definitely would have changed the base flashing, but the client might have had budget restrictions or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I had the before. That's what it was. I had the
okay,
before
gotcha. Yeah.
So that's what it looked like before. Again, redid the roof and had that on there, and then obviously it broke with the hail, and then they put the new one on. But still, if you're re-roofing, why would you leave something like that? The skylight it looks old. You got old flashing on there. I don't know.
Change it out. I'm with you there. All right. Well, thanks for sharing those with us there, Riley. So, outside of skylights, what else do you like to do?
I played football for most of my life. I started when I was 10 years old and played all the way through till I was 24. So loved that. And right now I got 2 small kids, so I'm most of the time spending with them and busy with work. But yeah, that's those are my main things. I coached for a while. I coached for my my last coaching was with the Calgary Dinos in 2018 for their on the football team there. So, but yeah, it's mostly just family stuff for me now.
2018, you're a coach, and who'd you coach again?
University of Calgary.
University of Calgary. Oh yeah, sweet. So like, are you a bit of a football fan too? I imagine you watch some.
I do watch it. A lot of people don't like I'm not a fan of CFL. Okay. I grew up loving it. When I had a chance to be involved with it, I liked it then too. And then I had through playing football for so long, I had a ton of friends that have played and still play in the CFL, and I follow them as best I can. But I actually really like watching college football, whether it be in Canada or in the U.S. The U.S. This year's gonna be different because they just recently opened it up that players can actually get paid by endorsements now. Before it was that you're just playing to get to the next level, and yes, you get school paid for, but you do everything you can, right? I started liking NFL a little bit less because it's all about the money, right?
Right.
People are so money hungry, and they really didn't care about winning as much as they just wanted to get paid.
Gotcha.
Not everyone, but a lot of the people.
I imagine a lot of them, yeah.
Where in college, it's you do whatever you can to win. It doesn't matter. You're putting your body on the line, whatever. You're doing whatever you can.
Right.
So I really like watching that. But like I said, now that in the States they open it up that organizations like Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, whoever, can pay college or high school athletes to use their product. So there's guys that are already getting paid over $1 million just to wear their T-shirts and say, "Yeah, I'm with Nike or whatever."
Man, sounds like a good gig though. I'll wear a shirt.
Yeah, well, those guys are on TV every
Yeah.
Saturday. Every Saturday is college game day, so they're always on TV. So
Nice.
as much as they can get their face out there, and especially with technology, right? Everyone's on social media and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, no, that's totally hear you there. So I don't. Did you mention which position you played in football?
I played offensive line. When I was in high school, I also played defensive line, but yeah, I played right tackle in university. I went to St. Mary's University out in Halifax, is where I ended my career.
You ended your career?
Yeah.
Yeah. What made you decide to end it?
Well, I graduated from school was the big one. I do have one more year of eligibility, but yeah, I graduated from university and decided to move back to Calgary when I was done school. So.
Oh yeah. So there must have been some, if you don't mind me asking, some reason that made you get into Skylights over that. What would you say?
Well, after I graduated, I worked for a couple different jobs that really weren't a fit for career, and I may have done what a lot of young Albertans do, is I went and worked on the rigs for a bit too, and
oh yeah, same
and
here.
that I know there's a lot of us that can relate there, but
yeah.
Which helped pay off some of the student loans, but. No, I got started with VELUX in 2016, and it's something that I've just grown to. I wasn't sure at first, right? Who knows a whole lot about Skylights at first, and even when my manager was interviewing me, he's like, yeah, most people just think of it's a window and the roof, right? That's it. It ends at that. But once I got in and learned more about the organization and stuff like that, like. We're a private organization. We're a family-owned organization. Huge, like we're huge to be that. And we've been like that the whole time. So wow. It's really cool to see that. And my job's different day to day. I deal with installers and roofers like yourselves. I deal with custom home builders. I deal with engineers, architects, specifiers, homeowners, all across the board. Some days I may be on a roof. Some days I may be, in a suit and tie doing a presentation with architects or something. So it's not the same thing every day, which is really cool.
I know it's pretty cool. I thought when you actually came to my site and you got up on the roof with me, I thought that was pretty interesting and personable experience. Do you got a favorite client, or do you take them all as they are?
You know what? Any of our certified installers are great because they've gone through it, and people that do it. We have a lot of people that are clients that do the installs, but people that go through the training and see it through. Those are the ones that are serious. So we do a little bit more, and we go a little bit above and beyond for them. And in terms of support, but I do, as I do what I can to support any of our clients, and any way I can, whether it be, like you said, getting on a roof, getting texts or emails. I'm pretty good about that. I try and answer any time of day.
Oh, you're fast, man. Oh yeah, no, you're really good about getting back to everybody. And everybody knows that, I mean, like the way I look at it, it's like, hey, if you call me, it's like that's more urgent. If you text me, it's like I can get around to it in a few hours or something. If you email me, it's like I got a few days to get to that. That's the way I look at the. Yeah,
I'm a little OCD on that, where I can't leave I can't end my day with having emails unread.
Well, it's a good idea because they pile up.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, and I get it's a little rough inside the organization, because my thing is, if I can't get to your email, I'm gonna respond to you and say, hey, I'll get to your email tomorrow. So at least I got it and I'm working on it.
Right.
And so it drives me a little nuts with some of my colleagues, where I'll email them and say, hey, you got my email? Like, hey, why didn't you let me? Well, it's been a day. You know what I mean? So I think it's everyone operates a little differently, but that's sort of how my mind works.
I'm kind of the same. I mean, I kind of get you. I mean, in a perfect world, I wish I could get every single email every day.
Well, as a business owner, it's totally different, right?
It's a little harder, but I also found something interesting about that. So, like, okay, so if somebody emails you at 2 a.m., that's okay. Somebody texts you at 2 a.m., you're like, what the hell, man? Like, really? You cannot call or text after midnight. Or calls, you shouldn't call after 9 or something like that. And then it's like.
Yeah, I honestly, I get a lot of people, builders, architects, roofers. I get a lot of people messaging me on Instagram. I do everything I can to share as much of local content as I can on Instagram. As I know you guys know. We have a VELUX Canada has their own page, and then VELUX globally has their own page as well. But I do on my personal page, do everything I can to share as much local content as possible, because we got some really cool installs going on. We got a lot of really cool projects.
Yeah, I know you shared some of our posts, and we're always really appreciative of that, and we're always cool. Like, oh yeah, we made Riley's page. Damn right. Well, Riley, it's been really nice having you here. I really appreciate you taking your time to come and speak with everybody here today on the No Pain podcast. And as you guys know, we got a YouTube running, so if you want to like and subscribe that, help that grow, that'd be good. We also are looking for local advertisement or locally made products that we'd like to advertise on the show here. So well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We got some good some activities we're going to be planning for our next podcast, so stay tuned, win some prizes, and bye for now.
Terrific.
Mission accomplished.
That was good.